This is Stepping Stones lesson 2.10. We are still working with our multiplication strategy using our 5s and our 10s. We're going to start with a word problem. It says a bricklayer is laying a path. It is 5 bricks wide and 28 bricks long. How many bricks will be needed? Our little raccoon down here says, I don't know 28 times 5, but I do know 28 times 10. 28 times 10 equals 280, and half of 280 equals 140. So 28 times 5 equals 140. We can use this same strategy to calculate these problems down here. Please remember that this is just a strategy. If you have something else that works for you, you don't have to use this. If you know your 5 times table, or if you can use the traditional algorithm, you're more than welcome to. But if I do want to use this strategy, I know that 16 times 5 is going to be related to 16 times 10. And 16 times 10 is 160. Excuse my writing, I'm using a computer cursor. So I know 16 times 10 equals 160, and 16 times 5 will be half of this problem. So I know that my answer will be half of 160, or 80. I'm going to do one more for you. 44 times 5 I can solve by saying I know 44 times 10. Oh, that doesn't really look like a 10. Equals 440. So my answer to 44 times 5 will be half of this answer, or 220. I want you to solve these two problems on your own. You can use this strategy or whatever strategy works for you. I would recommend pausing the video because I'm going to keep moving forward. So pause the video here and then solve these two problems. And when you're ready to move on, you can hit play. We're using the same strategy down here. We're just using bigger numbers than we were yesterday. So these are not numbers that you could traditionally use your 5 skip counting trick for. You could, but it's going to take you a while and you may lose count because you don't have 24 fingers. So it says 24 times 10 is 240. You can see it in the light gray right there. And I know that 1/2 of 240 is 120. So I know that 24 times 5 is 120. We're doing the same thing that we were doing up here, but it's sort of giving us the words to help us think about this when we have a new problem. So if we look over here at B, we have 16 times 10, I know is 160. And 1/2 of 160 is 80. So I know that 16 times 5 is going to be 80. Go ahead and make sure this is filled in your book, and we will move on to the next page. Now we're taking away some of those words that are going to help you think through it. So it just wants you to solve 15 times 10, which we should be able to do really quickly, and then get 150. And I'm going to halve this number to find 15 times 5. Remember, when we're halving a number, if we can't mentally have it in our heads, which happens a lot with the odd numbers, you can say, I know that half of 100 is 50, and half of 50 is 25, and then add those together, and we get 75. I want you to do B, C, D, and E, and F on your own. So go ahead and pause the video and do them on your own. Remember, you can always rewind the video if you want to hear something that I've said another time. Number 3 just says to complete each equation and show your thinking. So if you like this 10 strategy, you can show your thinking by saying 26 times 10 equals 260. So 26 times 5 equals 130. Or I know that some of you are comfortable with the traditional algorithm, so I can say 26 times 5. And I can solve using the traditional algorithm. You can do B and C on your own using whatever strategy works best for you. Go ahead and pause the video and do those in your book. And the last one for step ahead, we have 2 word problems. So A says, a soccer coach buys 5 team shirts and 5 pairs of shorts. Shirts cost $35 and shorts cost $17. Socks cost $9. How much money does she spend? Remember, sometimes these word problems try to trick you and give you information that you don't need. So make sure that you cross out any information that you may not need so that you don't add it in there when you're trying to solve the word problem. B says, Ruth earns $18 an hour. Chayton earns $24 an hour. If they each work 5 hours, what is the difference between the amounts they earn? I'm going to give you a hint that this one, you're going to have to do more than one expression to solve it. You're going to have to figure out one piece, and that will help you figure out the final answer. Go ahead and work on those. Remember, you can always go back and watch any part of this video again if you need help. And if you're stuck, ask your parent, watch the video, and if you're still stuck, bring in the problem tomorrow so that we can work through it together.